Today I have a project that I'm really excited about. Excited about it for two reasons. One, because I'm hopefully finally addressing some issues in an area that I feel like I've been just fighting with forever. And two, because there's some really cool plants going in here. So to give you a feel for where we're down the skinny little path that leads over to the other side of the yard. There's Roy's garden over there. And this is the area that we're working in here. So this back corner of this for years, so the front of this is planted in some areas better than others, but this back here has always been an issue. And I think I finally figured out what the problem is. So for years, I've been plunking in sun plants back here, and nothing ever really thrives. And I will tell you that if I have a gardening weakness, it's not being very good at reading sun conditions in an area and always being overly optimistic about how much sun is in an area. I'm certain that's what's happened here, probably the former more than the latter. But one of the reasons I think this happened is because a lot of times I get busy with the rest of the garden, and so these undone garden areas are areas that I don't think about until late in the season. Well, late in the season, this is in a fair bit of sun in the late afternoon when I'm over here, because the sun is so low in the sky and we've got a lot of trees, so it's always coming through in funny little areas. But it occurs to me now that when the sun is high in the sky, as it is during summer, this is not really a sunny area. Now it's late in the day right now, so this area is actually in shade right now, which is probably better because sometimes I show you guys shade gardens that are at the few hours of the day when they're in sun. So long story short, I have cleaned out this area and I've actually bought plants specifically for this area. The camera is moving because the puppy is leaning on the tripod. So I want to show you what these are, because they're not your usual plants. And I'll tell you that the way I did not design this garden on paper, I actually did this kind of a way I've never done anything before, which was that I looked at the availability list of what the wholesaler that I was going to go to, which in this case is Intrinsic Perennials, and bought stuff that they had available, because that's kind of what you have to do in fall, right? So let me walk you through the plants, because there are some really neat ones in here. Now, I have already laid everything out, but I did take a little bit of video before I did that so you could see the area naked. And I did pull out some of this lambsdeer, just a little bit, that was over there. I kind of like it here. I think we'll probably leave what's here. Existing plants here, there is this spirea here, and there are two quite sad looking hydrangeas, but you know what, they're rooted in, and I'm going to give them another shot here to see if they can make it. So at the front are lower growing things, and the first of them is, this is Carex eburnii, Eburn's sedge. So this is a native sedge here. It's very fine, does well in shade, should knit together, but it's very low grower. And so this will just form, like, hopefully sort of a dense mat here. Now, I did want that sort of towards the front, but what I didn't want was it right along the edge, because one thing I've learned is that planting Carexes right next to the edge gets very confusing when you're trying to figure out what's grass and what's a Carex, because your regular lawn does want to, sneak in there a little bit. Then I'm mixing in with that, a plant that you will certainly recognize that I have discovered makes an excellent ground cover, and that is blue mouse ears hosta. It bulks up quickly, it does so well, and amazingly, I have not had rabbits or deer eat this hosta. It's fairly amazing. Now, the next plant is completely new to me, and if I hadn't been going down the list looking for things, I never would have found this, because I have never heard of this plant before, but it sounds very cool. So this is Oridenia fusion of fire, and Oridenia is a cross between Mucdenia and Oridina. I'm gonna have to put stuff on the screen there for you so that I can tell you what it is. Apparently it blooms in spring. Now, if you've seen Macadamia, and I have seen it in other people's gardens, and every time I see it, I go, I need to get that plant. It's so good. It gets bright red leaves, and that's what this does. This gets brilliant red leaves, but they're huge because this is cross. This is an interspecies cross. So here's what the tag says. First of all, this is zones 5 to 8. Height is 12 to 4 inches. Spacing is 8 to 24. Blushing pink flowers appear before foliage. Bright red fall color, massive 12-inch leaves at maturity. Woodland type perennial, best in filtered sun or afternoon shade. So I got quite a few of those, and I can't wait to plant these, and I hope that I have extras actually, so they're not all going in this garden. I'm going to be able to put some in other places too, and I think this is going to be such a cool plant. If you have grown it, please let me know what your experiences are. I've laid things out, but I can already see I need to rearrange a couple of things, which I will do share shortly. Okay, so we've got some Macadamia in there. Then we move back here. Eastern, this is a wood aster. This is Eastern Star Woodland. This is Aster diversiceratus, Eastern Star. No zone information on this label, but this is a nice little woodland plant. That should do well, I would think, over here, and it should be pretty tough. Then we have epimediums. This is an epimedium that I have not grown before, and this is Epimedium fronleiten. Profuse yellow flowers complement lovely foliage, outstanding ground cover for shade, well suited to difficult areas, etc., etc., etc. But I looked this one up, and it looked quite interesting. Moving back, we do have some ferns. We cannot have a shade garden without ferns. And this fern is, this is the leather wood fern. And this is Dryopteris marginalis. Vase-shaped, non-spreading evergreen fern, gregory leathery foliage, 18 tall, 24 inches wide, zones 3 to 8. I mean, I just need more ferns in my life because nothing eats them. And they look so good, and they offer such nice light texture. Also interspersed throughout here, we've got Honorine Jobert anemone, a favorite of mine. I quite like this plant very much. We have some more stinking hellebores. This is Helleborus fetidus. I say that because it is the most fun name to say. It's the most fun of all the names, I think. Anyway, beautiful foliage. The flowers are not the showy type of that have been, bred in some of the new cultivars. They're chartreuse and a little bit more natural looking. Not that I don't like other ones, but I've got several of those in here. Kind of fell in love with that plant. Kind of changed my mind on hellebores, to be honest. Then we have a grass, pretty tall grass here, and you are thinking, what are you doing with a grass in a shady garden? But this is Calamagrostis bracteostrica, and this is zones 5 to 9. And this can actually bloom in part shade to shade. It will do better in sun, but it will bloom. It's basically one of the very few tall grasses that you can push into shade and get some performance out of. So I only have one of those for now because I want to see how it does. And if I'm happy with it, I will probably get some additional ones, but I didn't want to go all in on those off the bat. Just one other plant to show you. Oh no, there's two other plants. I got a fireworks goldenrod, Solidago fireworks. I've seen this in sun and shade. It obviously does better in sun. You can push it into shade. This edge should be sunnier, I would think. I love the irony that I have Canadian goldenrod all around me and I don't love it. And then I have this, and then I go buy one. But this is really beautiful arching form. I added some other ones to the other part of the garden this year too. And then lastly, we have a plant that is going to get probably the biggest plant in here, and it is the smallest one in the pot. And this is yellow wax bells. What are we saying here? Chirangashoma. And this is 30 inches tall, 24 inches wide. It gets these really beautiful palmate leaves on it. You do get some flowers, but like really this is about foliage. The flowers are beautiful too. But the foliage gets big. It almost looks like a shrub back here. So I have 3 of those dotted around. One back there, one over there, one over here. Okay, so those are the plants. I did bring the auger out because there's a lot of plants that go much faster with the auger here. And I am gonna just rearrange this front row a little bit. I think I'm gonna pull, got a lot of short stuff in the front. We're gonna pull things around. So let me just rearrange a little bit and then I'll show you where things end up, then we'll get them in. By the way, I do have 15 of another Carex. This is Carex Pennsylvanica straw hat. This is one that Brent Horvath at Intrinsic bred. It's basically bred, I believe it's a little bit smaller than the regular Carex Pennsylvanica, and it has like a little bit more showy flower on it, as much as flowers can be showy on Carex, although they can. Pennsylvania sedge, which is what this is, has been so good for me in a dry, shady area over there that I thought it would be very good for kind of underneath this tree. So underneath the tree over here, let's just walk over there so I can show you quickly. So in an effort to just cover these things up, or cover up the ground here, just so that something will grow, I've popped in over the years Hecklenkoa all gold, Geranium macrorrhizum doing a great job. There's some lamium in here. There's actually some very nice epimediums mixed in here that haven't really had a chance to do their thing too much. I always have to go in there and kind of rescue them. So, but it's a tough area. There's a lot of sweet woodruff in here too. I'd rather not have this covered in sweet woodruff if I could avoid it. So I thought that in these areas like back here, maybe I could put that Pennsylvania sedge, the straw hat, kind of through here to fill in this area a little bit and get that going so we get a nice ground cover area underneath this tree. Okay, hopefully you can see what I did. I just, not too far forward, I just want to pull a couple of those forward a little bit to get some height in here. I think that it will take a little bit to get this Carex. The Carex should probably be placed a little closer than it is, to be honest. This one does not bulk up as quickly as the other ones do. I think I hit a root on every single hole. I mean, what else would you expect? Shady areas. Right here on the other side of the lambs there is like a huge old trunk. All those trees are attached to something. Okay, now I just gotta stick them all in the holes. All right, everything is in the ground. It took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to, and we're getting a little dark here now, but so you'll notice that there's a lot of tags left on the plants. I don't usually plant things with the tags, but I did in this case because some of these plants are new to me, so I don't know what they're gonna look like when they come out, you know, in spring. And the other thing is that I know that this area is gonna be filled with plants. There's a lot of roots left in that ground. I know that a lot of things are going to come up here, and I need to be able to tell what's a plant and what's a weed or what's something else. So I will pull those at some point, but not now. So watering is next, obviously, and then a nice layer of mulch in here. Actually, quite a thick layer of mulch. Note the aforementioned weeds are going to come up. A couple of things over here. You see this grassy type thing over here. This is actually canary reed grass, which is another invasive. And the way this one spreads, this was planted, this is an invasive species that was planted around farm fields to help mitigate runoff damage. Of course, what they didn't realize was that once it gets out of its area, it goes absolutely nuts. So this creek right here, this kind of muddy pit right now, is actually, all this is water coming down from farm fields. So the seeds float down, they land in the banks, it fills in here, it outcompetes, we lost a pot down here, it outcompetes all of the native species. You know how this story ends. The only real way to get rid of this is to spray it with kind of a specialized chemical that is safe for areas with water and safe for waterways. So that's what I do with this. I didn't do the first spray this year when I should have, and I just did one actually earlier today. It's probably too late for this year. But anyway, so that's what that is. This is a Ligularia that I transplanted here earlier this year. I will probably put more Ligularia along this bank here. We'll see how they do here and how I like them here. But it's a nice little stabilizer. It likes wet roots. And then, of course, across the way, I'm going to be planting something to kind of help stabilize that bank because it really washed away quite a bit this year. So that is the plan. I did not get to planting the Carex pennsylvanica. It's fine. We'll do that a different day. But at least I got this done. I'm hoping these plants like this. I know this will be better. I feel like maybe I finally nailed it with this spot, but time will tell. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day in your garden. We'll see you soon.